Thank you, friends. Shabbat shalom. Greetings to you all. It's nice to know there are other Turtles fans out there, not the chocolates, but the band. Boy, they were great. And several questions about the betrothal scene came up and how it was like the Moses scene at the Midianite well of Jethro, except it was Rebecca watering the camels. Excellent observations. The betrothal scene plays out time and time again. It is a tried and true formula of biblical writing, except this one does have certain differences built into it. First, we know this was a later addition because camels were not used in the patriarch era. And this is a reversed betrothal scene. The girl performs the heroic betrothal task and the other party isn't even there. Isaac is still at home wandering the fields meditating. But yes, the similarity in parts and meaning is striking. Now, as will be another episode this week, where we have the third of the three sister-wife episodes with Isaac, Rebekah, and Abimelech, the Philistine king. And yes, that was the same name as the Philistine king in the Abraham episode. As Ronald Reagan would say, here we go again. So is this different? Or is it a replay of that same story? Or as they used to say, is it live or is it Memorex? Again, friends, do not take this as a chronological history. It just doesn't work. Now also, I do believe with the alteration of the betrothal scene and the nature of the miracle dictated by the sojourner, that Abraham's servant in this instance may very well have been an angel. And friends, a book that was filled with incredible angelic tales suddenly has no more. You will not read about them again in the normal flow of the writing. Don't forget the angel who handled the death of the firstborn in Egypt was originally God and not recorded as an angel. Why are they gone? Where have they gone? I don't know about you, but I miss them. And speaking of miracles, I was asked a great question about miracles, and I really had to put my thinking cap on. I think we all tend to jump to the immediate definition of them as being in the realm of supernatural types of acts, not explained by the regular laws of physics. But they're not all in that category. And of course, the skeptics and followers of Baruch Spinoza would subscribe to the belief we call things miracles for which we simply haven't figured out what the likely cause really is. And fans of A Course in Miracles would subscribe to the belief that a miracle is a shift in perception from fear to love. Now, regardless, I think it's a miracle that so many of you listen, watch, and enjoy my weekly rambling, so thank you. Now, this week we'll watch as Isaac bestows his famous blessing on his son, Jacob. And it ends, "Cursed be everyone who curses you, and blessed be everyone who blesses you." Now, that was the Abraham blessing we read before, and which we will see again issued by Balaam when he's called upon to curse the Israelites. Friends, we are witnesses to history. The history of family, the members within that family, and the impact and effect it will have. We are observers to true transformation. We all transform throughout our lives. We grow, we change, and most of the time, we are not fully aware of the process. Our old personality patterns change without effort on our part in proportion to the depth of awareness that we bring to them. And thank you, Nanette, for your fantastic comments and question. My head is still spinning in the directions one can go with it. I would have loved to have been a part of that discussion group. And let us all send healing energy out to Cassia, who needs all the healing we can send her, and anyone else you know who may need healing energy. May the source of all who blessed the ones before us bless those in need of healing. The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit. We're about to reach a watershed moment in the Torah, my friends, in an innocently enough titled parsha simply called Toldot, the records, oft simply translated as genealogy. Now, this is not the first genealogy or record list we have seen. We had one from Adam to Noah, and then from Noah to Abraham, and those took us from creation to destruction, and then from the transition of the antediluvian era to the beginning of the modern story of family, of spirit, of freedom, perhaps of selfishness. And in so doing, this Toldot jumps to a most incredible tale of karma. If you did not believe in karma before, it is pretty hard not to after you read this. Tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme. This is a tale of deception, setting in motion a karmic chain of epic proportion, and it is a classic tale, and one that is still experienced to this day. It's about a son who does everything he can for the love and validation of a father, and ends up getting neither. Now, Isaac's a unique individual, and his life is different from his father Abraham's and from his son Jacob's. He never leaves the promised land. He never fights. He has only one wife. His name is not changed. He is pictured going to meditate. He lives the longest, and yet there are the fewest stories about him than the others. He's a relatively passive figure, acted on by his father and his wife and his son. He has once lain on an altar as a sacrifice to God, and even though the sacrifice is not consummated, his life is now consecrated, and his life is distinct after this from now on. The actions that parents take regarding their children impact on their children's lives ever after. Now, as we've seen before with Sarah, and as still happens so often today, Isaac's wife cannot get pregnant. Now, she ultimately did get pregnant, and we are told the children in her struggled. Well, boom! We are told up front there is more than one. Children. So she went to inquire of the Lord. And friends, Rebekah hears the voice of God before Isaac ever does. A man who had the most unique relationship with God since Adam has never heard his voice. Now, Rebekah's is the tale of twins. While we were introduced to the destructiveness and dysfunction of sibling rivalry with the very first siblings, Cain and Abel, now we see what happens when we have twins. Twins are different. Tell this story, but tell it outside the context of the Bible. It lies somewhere between King Lear and the man in the iron mask. Two brothers, each favored by one parent, a dominant parent, and a passive one. One manipulated through love and deception. It is a story that goes against our moral compass. Tell the story. Most will say the deceiving brother is horrid and deserves whatever happens to him. Daniel, my brother, you are older than me. Do you still feel the pain of the scars that won't heal? Your eyes have died, but you see more than I. Daniel, you're a star in the face of the sky. The great Bertie Taupin and Elton John. Now, without knowing, a theme has been replaying, one that supersedes man's laws. God preferred Abel's sacrifice to Cain's, that is, the youngers over the elders. Abraham made his sole heir Isaac, the younger, over the elder. And that'll be taken to new heights in the future, and a series of incidents, events, karmic relationships evolve because of this. So who says the eldest should be the first? Well, they're not the same. We translate them the same, and that, you will see, is misleading. The law of eldest is man's, not God's. Perhaps God's is to honor based on merit instead of based on order. Man decided the eldest had the right of inheritance to prevent feuding. It was known there was an order to things. Now, successful or not, that's another discussion. Just for good measure, we'll be confounded by translation. In biblical Hebrew, the subject may either precede or follow the verb, and the object likewise may either precede or follow the verb. So what that means is that sometimes it's impossible to tell which word in a biblical verse is the subject and which is the object, especially if the verse is in poetry. Now, that is the case when Rebekah seeks God's intervention, and in this oracle to Rebekah, what is said in Genesis 25:23, 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 peoples will be dispersed from your insides, and one people will be mightier than the other people, and the older, the younger, will serve. And this can mean the elder will serve the younger, or the elder, the younger, will serve. Like the Delphic oracles in Greece, this prediction contains 2 opposite meanings, and therefore the person who receives it, Rebekah, can hear whatever she wants to hear. it can be understood that Jacob will serve Esau, or that Esau will serve Jacob. Something for everyone, a tragedy tonight. Now the twins are born, Esau and Jacob. We all know them. Yaakov grabbing the heel of the first. Now Isaac, married at 40, and he becomes a parent when he's 60. And I tell you that because I want you to keep that in mind as you read the Parsha, because knowing the ages of these people sometimes helps you put it all together. Now we all know the story of the birthright deception, orchestrated by Rebekah. People throughout history have tried to find justification for the action Jacob would take. However, phone rang and it disconnected. Jacob suffers some corresponding recompense for every deception he commits. That alone suggests there's no redeeming reason. We try so hard to find Esau at fault. We say the birthright meant nothing. We say he was mean, horrid, hateful person. And yet there is no evidence for any of those things. The lesson, therefore, is not only that people are not perfect, but also that acts of deception can fester in a family and that they have consequences. Those who try to excuse Jacob and turn Esau into a villain are unfortunately hiding these essential lessons of the Torah. We are beyond that. Now let's take a quick look at the story. Genesis 25:28. And Isaac loved Esau because he put game meat in his mouth, and Rebekah loved Jacob. If this itself were not a recipe for disaster, I do not know what is. One parent loves one child, and the other parent loves the other. Now later on, Jacob made a lentil stew, and Esau came in exhausted from a day in the fields and asked for some of the stew. Genesis 25:31. And Jacob said, "Sell your birthright to me today." Now the starving Esau now thinks that if he dies, a dead Esau has no birthright anyhow, so why not? What we do not know, and what would actually be quite interesting, is exactly when this event occurs in relation to Rebekah's plans. We also discover that Esau gets married at the age of 40, just like his father did. And as a result of his choice, Genesis 26:35, and they were a bitterness of spirit to Isaac and to Rebekah. Can you imagine parents not welcoming a son's choice? Oi! How can that be? And then, my friends, what I see is the defining moment not just of Jacob's life, but of a people. Genesis 27:1. And it was when Isaac was old, and his eyes were too dim for seeing, and he called Esau his older son, and said to him, "My son." And he said to him, "I am here." Now, and I wonder if he really called Esau twice, "My son, my son." And Esau gave the response, "I am here." We have seen this before. We will see it again. The defining moment of life. This is the defining moment of destiny for brothers, a family, a people. We are told Esau disdained the birthright, but everything we read says he was devastated at its loss and his not being able to get the blessing he wanted so badly from his father. We know what happened. Isaac asks Esau to bring him food before he blesses him, and Rebekah overhears and had Jacob bring food she prepares, and to pretend he is Esau. And she does this by putting animal fur on his arms and neck and has him wear Esau's clothes. In this way, he will feel and smell like Esau. But the near-blind Isaac cannot see and does not trust what he hears, because he says the person sounds like Jacob but feels like Esau. And friends, those two senses, sight and sound, become the names of Jacob's first two sons in a karmic twist of fate. Now notice Jacob is hesitant, but not because it is morally wrong. Genesis 27:12. Maybe my father will feel me, and I'll be like a trickster in his eyes, and I'll bring a curse on me and not a blessing. No. It's not about moral fiber. It is about fear, the enemy of us all. Friends, we all have a true north, represented by the North Star, that which keeps us on course. Many of us search to find our true north without which we can wander. And there are those who continue to wander in search of their North Stars. For some it is ethics, for some morals, for some ritual, for some law, for some love. It is different for us all, but the commonality is that we must ultimately have one. We all know the story of the three wise men who followed theirs. Now perhaps it's not until we find our own place in spirit that we find our guiding light. Each of the patriarchs searched for theirs at different times in their lives. And so when Jacob brought the meal Rebekah made to his dying father, Genesis 27:20, and Isaac said to his son, "What's this? You were quick to find it, my son." And he said, "Because Yahweh, your God, made it happen for me." Your God, not his God. Jacob did not have the connection to spirit or God that Isaac had. In fact, you will see him lay out a series of conditions before he will embrace that God. Jacob, like so many of us, is ruled by fear. The great enemy that a holy day was devoted to, while his brother, much to the consternation of our sages, may very well have been ruled by that which we may spend our lives seeking, love and forgiveness. Rebekah's plan and Jacob's actions have caused a great hurt, which will only be healed by maturation and forgiveness. We can only imagine the devastation felt by both Isaac and Esau at the betrayal they have each undergone. First Esau laments, "He's taken my birthright, and here now he's taken my blessing." And Esau despised Jacob because of the blessing with which his father had blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, "The days of mourning for my father will be soon. Then I'll kill Jacob, my brother." Now we jump on this as our example of the hatefulness of Esau. Rebekah tells Jacob to flee to her brother Laban and stay there until Esau calms down. And again, guilt and fear become the companions of Jacob's future. And not finished manipulating, Rebekah tells Isaac to send Jacob away to find a wife so he won't marry locally. Something we heard before. Simply more deception. As Sir Walter Scott said, "Oh, what a wicked web we weave when first we practice to deceive." They sent Jacob off to marry a cousin. So hearing this and believing this to be a portal to the love of his parents, Esau takes a new wife for himself, also a cousin. But that was not the key to getting the love from his parents that he sought so badly. Friends, from the minute we are born, and no doubt before, we need to attach to the love of our parents. It, not a mother's milk, is what nurtures and generates the life force within us. I hear from many how hard they fought to try and obtain the love of a parent and sought it their whole lives. Sometimes from parents who simply did not know how to communicate, and sometimes from parents who themselves did not know how to love. Maybe your daddy never held you like he should. Maybe your mom had just held on the best she could. Every soul has a secret. Give it away or keep it, but yesterday's gone, so tell me why. You carry the weight of the world. Weight of the World by Ringo Starr. So many carry the weight of the world. Express your love. You have no idea of the power it contains. Tell your kids you love them. You see, parents and children have really simple roles in life, and they are different. A parent's role is to love their child, and it does not matter if the child reciprocates. A child's role is to grow, to learn, to become independent and fearless, and then to do the same for his child, to simply love him. This is an incredible moral tale encompassing fear, love, forgiveness, and karma, and how worlds can turn on decisions and misunderstanding. The world is sacred, my friends, and so is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish, celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Tell them, live free, be free, honor your freedom, be well, be happy. Be blessed. Share and honor the light, and all who live in the light and continue to shine. Continue to send everyone you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone, and end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we are a community. We learn together. We celebrate each other. We love each other. We share this ride together, men and women equally. Let us send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, good healing to all who need it. And please do fall in love, my friends. It is the great gamble worth taking. Look forward in life, not backwards. Don't take because as an answer. Break free of dogma. Change your way of thinking. Follow the call of freedom. Enjoy the journey, because the journey is yours to enjoy. My brother, if you could cast a little light on someone, it's not too soon. You took me halfway around the world. I'm running out of time and reasons. The Blue Jays. Thank you all. Love you. See you all next time. And I do love seeing you all again. And remember, your wishes do come true. Bless you all. Have a fantastic week. A week of love and healing. And thank you for joining me. Shabbat Shalom. And parents, tell your kids that you love them. Take care. Bye.